Alright, so hopefully you've had enough time to work on creating some components that are going to go into your scene. I've already created some components going into my scene. I'm not going to go over through how I did each of them, so this will be a little puzzle for you. As you see things sort of populate in my scene here, you can go, oh, how did he do that? Hint, it's everything that I just showed you, just a remix in maybe a different way. Now let's just take a look again at our sketch real quick in the middle of the fray here, right? So we've got a bookcase, we've got windows, we've got some plants, we've got a chair, table with a lamp, looks like a coffee table with a tray and maybe a mug of something, and some pictures on the walls. Looks like the windows might have a blind treatment, so we're going to try and get all of that stuff set up. Your scene's going to look entirely different, no doubt. Hopefully it will not be this complicated, but I'm hoping that by showing you how to do all of this stuff, you'll be able to make whatever it is that you want. Alright, so let's turn our sketches off. We've got our window treatment that we looked at earlier. Here is a copy that I made that I've sized down to the side of the room, but as you can see, it is not aligned to this wall. So in order to align it, I'm going to need to do a transform and then flip horizontal, and there we have it. I would like maybe 2 windows to go on this side of the room. And indeed, I have actually already set that up. So I've got my windows set up over here. But the windows in the sketch had looked maybe like a blind treatment, and these windows look very bland the way that they are. So how do I add like blinds to this to make it look interesting? And before I say that, what we're going to be doing in this video, I probably should have led with this, we're just going to be doing sort of the back wall to this room. I'm going to start populating things in, and I'm just going to show you how to do this. The reason that we're going to do just sections here is because I want to make it clear how to build the room up. It's always back to front. It's always what's behind to what's in front of it. And you're going to need to keep track of all of this stuff, right? Anytime you add a new component, you need to move that component to wherever it is, front to back. That way, you'll be able to keep track of your line work, because when all the line work is on top of the other line work, it's going to be almost impossible to keep track of. You'd be amazed how quickly a simple little isometric scene like this can get way out of control. So, I know it's annoying, but make sure that when you're doing your layers, you do your layers one at a time and you name them, right? Okay, so I've got my windows in. Now I'm going to add in blinds. And the first blind that I'm going to add in is this guy right here. And all it is just a couple of lines and a little squiggle here. So I'm going to add in his brothers here. And there's all my blinds. Now again, which blind is the one that's on top? It's a little difficult to tell. Is the window in front of the blinds? I don't know just by looking at it. That's why it's really important to set everything up here and just keep track of everything that's going on. Finally, I'll put a kind of a rail over the top here for my blinds to track across. We know that there's plants that are going to be going in front of these windows. I've created some planter stands. These are just like wooden planter stands that are going to sit in front of the windows. I think I'm going to put plants on one. I'm going to leave plants off on the other, but we'll see about that. I'm also going to add in some wall frames. And I've added in some lepidoptery to my wall frames. I've got some framed butterflies here. I've used just the same butterfly, the same frame, again and again. And the butterfly was created just using the symmetry tool, and then I aligned the butterfly to the isometric perspective using added transform distort. So I've got my frames on the walls, I've got my windows, I've got my planter stands. What is next? Next, I want to add in my books. So I've got a couple of bookcases here. I'm going to open up these layers. I'm going to show you how detailed this is. So I have actually 2 bookcases, 1 and 2. And I've got a number of different objects in there. Here I've got an object on one of the shelves. You can see that all of the shelves are sorted out so that they can all have fills. I've got books between all of those different shelves. I haven't really added, I moved one of the shelves down, which I can absolutely do because this is isometric view. I don't really have anything on the bottom shelves, but the reason that I don't is because I'm going to have a chair in front of this, so I'm probably not even going to see most of this. So we'll get back to all of that in a little bit. Next I have my slippers. We were talking about making slippers, so I made some slippers and we're going to plop them on the floor next to my plants and bookcase. And then I'm going to add my plants in as well. The plants are going to go on top of everything here. So even though they're not actually closest to me, they are going to be on top of the bookcase, and they are going to be in front of the windows and the blinds. And they're not going to interfere with anything else in the scene. It really wouldn't matter if my plants were the top layer here or whether they were just above my slipper layer. But if I add those plants in, you can kind of see where they're going to sit and what they're going to look like. Okay, so here's my first bit of line work. Just getting the back of the room taken care of, getting all the stuff lined up, and getting everything in order on my layers. Okay, next we're going to go and we're going to do the middle of the room here, and we're going to do the same exact thing.